Alright, so I found the paint code for my Honda Odyssey in the door jamb, and it's NH638M. And to get the formula, we'll go to ms.formulaexpress.com, and where it says OEM color code, we'll select there. Say NH6. NH638M, and say go. And it's in, okay, we've got Acura and we've got Honda, and we'll select the Honda option. And the paint that we use is called ProBase National Rule. So we'll select our line of paint here, and now it's saying, well, we've got multiple variations on this. We may have a darker or a lighter chip, and you always just want to choose the standard chip. And you may get a security certificate warning. Just ignore that. Let's proceed anyways. And at this point it's going to ask us to log in, and we'll provide you with a login and password. Say okay, so we're in here. Here is our formula. It's telling us which toner to pick out of our toner set, and also how many grams we're going to mix, how many grams go into the formula of each toner. Now generally for a bumper corner, you're going to mix about maybe about 3 sprayable ounces, and this particular formula software won't let you mix a quantity that small. So what you actually have to do is you have to come in here and you have to say, okay, so what's the amount here? You have to set it to ounces. Okay, and if you're going to mix 3, you have to multiply that times 10 and say you're going to mix 30, and it'll actually give you a nice formula. And because you've multiplied by a factor of 10, all you got to do is just move the decimal point 1 point to the left. So if we look at this formula right here, what it's saying is you need to get PB213. It's apparently, I don't know, some sort of mixing silver, and you'd want to put in a quantity of 343.6 grams on your scale, but we're going to actually put 34.3. We're going to move the decimal point over 1 to the left, so it would be 34.3 grams of that paint. We'll move on to the next paint, which is 5102 medium aluminum, and we'll put 43.3 grams on the scale. Onto bottle 5101 fine aluminum, 48.5, all the way down the list until we hit 80.6 grams, and we can stir it up and drop it in the cup. Alright, so I've written out the formula for this particular shade of silver Honda, and here is the bottle of paint that they're requesting you to grab, and then the grams that you're going to pour into your cup. So as I said before, we'll move our decimal point right to here, and instead of making 30 ounces, we'll just make the 3 ounces that we need to cover this bumper corner. So we'll drop 1 plastic cup on our scale. Turn our scale on. And it looks like the first item it's asking for is 5213, which is actually pure binder. And we'll go up to 34.3. Next bottle is PB 5102 up to 43.3. (5101) to 48.5 grams. (5108) 49.7. (5013) up to 49.9. 5206 up to 50. And it's asking for 5010 up to 50.07. That's almost virtually impossible to pour. It really wouldn't make a big deal if I just skipped that toner altogether. So we'll move on to the next one, which is 2203, and that is your reducer. So that's going to make the paint liquid enough to get through your gun. And we'll just take that right up to 80. There we go. Stir that up and drop it in the gun. Alright, so it's been about 15 minutes and our primer is cured up. Just a note that when the primer does cure up, it is shiny. So you really have to just check with your hands and say, okay, that feels like it's ready to go. So we'll take some 600 grit sandpaper and we'll wet sand this thing to prep it for our base coat. So I got a note here that if you're going to tape off a point where your primer ends, you got to make sure that you sand it and have a nice feathered, smooth transition. So if you've done this correctly, there should be no shininess left to your primer, and I can definitely see a spot right here where I've left it shiny, and I'm gonna have to touch this up a little bit, look for all those shiny spots because they just aren't scuffed up enough for your base coat to get the sort of adhesion that you want. And I probably should definitely sand down this edge quite a bit so that it's nice and feathered like up here. So looks like I still got some work to do. Alright, so this time around, my primer is looking excellent. I'm just not seeing those cuts that I saw last time. And I've sanded all the primer from shiny to dull. And we're ready to spray on base coat, but prior to that, let's just give it one good wipe down with wax and grease remover. Alright, it's a very good habit that just before you lay down your base coat, you just take out your tack rag and you wad it up a little bit and just real lightly go over your bumper surface. But make sure that it's completely dust free. Alright, see right here, it looks like when I was wet sanding, I actually got some water up in this area here. And I'm finding out that it's just now starting to come out of this recess, which would have created a huge problem if I were painting at the time and water came out of here. All right, looks like I've got the bumper pretty well covered, and it looks to me like I probably still have about 2 ounces left in my cup. So a little bit of paint goes a long way. It looks like I probably could have got away with maybe 1.5 sprayable ounces on this whole bumper cover, on this whole bumper corner. All right, let's mix up some clear coat, and the clear coat mixing ratios are 5 parts clear, 1 part activator, and 1 part reducer. So in general, for a bumper corner, you're going to want 3 ounces of clear approximately. So we'll put in 2 ounces of clear. Excuse me, we'll put in 2.5 ounces of clear. And 0.5 ounces of reducer. And 0.5 ounces of activator. Looks like that brings us up to about 3.5 sprayable ounces.